Good morning, Ohio. In this beautiful day where it's so mild outside and actually kind of cool. And I wanted to give you a little bit of my experience on the J juice, drinking a quart after a very debaucherous weekend with drinking and smoking. Okay, so we all know the stigma around alcohol and cigarettes. I mean, they have clean and sober clinics, there's Alcoholics Anonymous, there's drugs to help you quit smoking cigarettes. We all know the smell of cigarettes, and we all know the crimes that people commit when they are drunk. No drunk driving. We also know how intense some people get when they are very, very inebriated. And some alcohols are work really well. Some alcohols are a bit more intense and bring out the monster in some people. And other alcohols will bring out more of the fun lovingness of other people. Hey, sugar, I see you. So so I decided that since I was going to a bachelorette party, and well, actually before the bachelorette party, before I even got there, I was telling myself, well, I'm not going to drink. I wasn't even thinking about smoking because smoking never even came up in my head because my husband smokes every day, but I never craved it. So that was never something I was thinking about. But I knew there was going to be a lot of drinking. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna be clean and sober through this whole trip. I'm not gonna be drinking anything. And then when I get there, and a bunch of girls, I'm the oldest person there. I mean, I'm 46 years old. I'm with a bunch of millennials, and which is fine because I can hang with anyone. It doesn't really matter. But but yeah, I was actually the oldest person there. So I'm trying to think of. Oh no, there's somebody else was there who was a little bit older. No, that's right. Somebody else was there, but I think was a little bit older. I didn't ask his age. But anyways, I was the oldest girl there. I'll say that much. Oldest bachelorette. So anyways, so I drank. So I would say I started smoking when the girls were all just hanging out that evening, and then when they're like, yeah, let's do shots. This is like Friday night. We just got there, so you see some of the pictures. We just got there Friday night. We started, doing Jello shots first, and then the little beers. And I knew they were practicing playing tits, which is a type of drinking game. Okay, and they were drinking like White Claws and everything. I was not drinking White Claws, but I said to myself, I'm only going to drink just liqueur and liquor, but no beer or anything like Zimas or beer type of stuff. So I did have an actual plan that, okay, if I'm going to be drinking and smoking, because my husband left his cigarettes at my friend's house when I went over there because we drove over together, and so I was like, that was like a sign that, okay, here's some cigarettes. I could wait and give to him later, or you know what? I decided that, hey, I'm going to just blend in with the crowd. Do what the Romans do. When in Rome, do what Romans do. My body can handle it. I've been on the JGs for 4 years. I have a clean liver. I don't see a problem with me just allowing myself to take part in this new environment, because it really is a new environment for me after 4 years of being completely clean as over. Okay. So anyway, so yeah, so it was drinking it was drinking a lot that evening and then the guys came over, and then it was even more drinking. Then you saw the pictures of all of us in the hot tub, and we were passing around this apple shine, which is a gallon jug, and I was mad dogging it with everybody else. I was drinking the little beers and doing some shots with the girls, with the guys, whatever. And you'd think, and then we kept doing more shots later on in the evening, and the evening kept progressing, and I was up hella late. My dog was actually, she was also getting primed for the weekend as well, and she definitely was on patrol. So it was like a great experience on Friday because it was new. We were already acclimated or becoming acclimated to this new situation, that we're in this intense, intense, energetic atmosphere. And that was Friday night. Then comes Saturday, and actually after that night of drinking, I didn't have any, like, I usually when I drink alcohol, before the J juice, I would crash like hella early. I'd have a hangover the same night that I'd be drinking. Like I would have a limit. I would pass out. So this was so weird to me that I was able to keep drinking like the Shine, all these different hard liquors, and it didn't put me over the edge. I wasn't inebriated to such an extent to where I didn't know who I was or making bad choices. I just was very coherent, carrying on these conversations, but a little bit in the background, a little, biochemical fluctuations in the background, but nothing that would remind me of what it was like back when I was when I was really drunk with margaritas and stuff. And oh my God. So it was like a total change for me. And then so Saturday comes around, and that's when all the beer Olympics and I mean, there's a lot of drinking, okay? Just so you know. And I think I had like a Bloody Mary in the morning, and that was it. I actually didn't drink any alcohol, but I smoked a lot of cigarettes. Okay? So if I wasn't drinking, then I would be smoking. And then my dog also, she had a hard time acclimating on the Saturday because she was like, "Oh my God, you're in this house. I'm in, my husband's in this house because a bachelor party, two different houses." And so she was a little bit skittish and didn't want to eat. And so finally, Saturday night, my husband and I joined together and hung out for like an hour or so on the couch inside while everyone's doing their beer stuff. And she finally ate and pooped and all that and drank water, and we were fine. So that Saturday night, I went to bed, hung out with my husband, and we went to bed at a reasonable hour. A lot of stuff was going on in the background out there. People were doing their stuff. And then I woke up the next morning early enough, helped clean up. And then I really felt like, oh my God, I felt very bloated. I really didn't poop that whole weekend. Maybe I pooped a little bit, but that's about it. I didn't really poop that much that weekend. So when I got home, man, I had to poop a lot. And Sunday when we got home, I didn't do the Jilly Juice. I just kind of laid around going like, oh my gosh, totally just tired. Because we didn't get home until maybe about 3 o'clock or 4 o'clock. We had a pizza. I think we ordered a pizza. And then we slept in like yesterday. I think until about 7 o'clock yesterday. And my husband was off yesterday. And I'm just like, and then I think one of my neighbors, they bought a few books for me because I told them about, this stuff on Sunday because I knew a package came for me on Saturday and I wasn't here. So my neighbors picked it up for me, which is totally awesome. And I'm like, the lady was asking me, when my neighbor was asking me, well, are you do the Jilly Juice? I'm like, no, I'll probably do it on like Tuesday when my husband's, on the road and everything. And then yesterday, I'm just like, you know what? Because she gave me money yesterday because I told her about the book and the other neighbor about the book, and then she gave me like $15 yesterday. And I'm just like, to myself, I need to drink the J juice. I really do, because I'm tired. I feel bloated. I could feel all of the weekend in my intestines. I got to clear the pipes. So that's when I got onto Facebook Live, was telling you about my experiences and about cure and the book and people doing stuff, whatever. You'll see that video that I did yesterday morning. But and I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna drink the J juice. And so usually I do about maybe a shot or maybe 2 cups, but I haven't done like a full quart since like February. Okay, because I never really needed to. I mean, I eat food. I don't need to really clear the pipes that much because I don't take in a bunch of food with different foods that my body isn't used to. But over the weekend, I ate a bunch of food and drank a bunch of alcohol, smoked a bunch of cigarettes that my body wasn't used to. And so it did hold on to that microbiome to allow me to adapt to. So it's very easy over the weekend to adapt to the cigarettes and the alcohol. No hangover, no nothing. It was then when I drank the J juice where I am detoxing and regenerating too simultaneously, okay? So this is for you guys. Once you heal and seal and you're wondering, can you ever go and hang out with a crowd that isn't doing J juice but are drinking like fishes, and then you can actually drink everybody under the table? Well, yes. So yesterday, after I drank that quart, the waterfalls didn't happen immediately. I actually felt like all this poop was coming out, like the poop plugs that you guys know about. That happens in the beginning when you first do J juice, is getting through that first poop plug. And then after that, it's like smooth sailing from there. I mean, not so smooth for some people, but after you get your first waterfall, it's amazing. Well, that's what I went through yesterday, was basically getting through that poop plug. Okay? And so all these little pebbles came out. And then finally, after I kept drinking water, that's when it was just, and it was nonstop. It was a continuous, like, half the day and half the night. I could finally fart, like, at somewhere in the middle of the night when I went to bed without wondering if I'm going to poop myself, okay? But that's the thing. And I think I threw up just one time. I felt actually after drinking the J juice, that euphoric feeling, not euphoric, I'm sorry, that like the dizziness feeling, as if I was actually dealing with a hangover. So when somebody drinks alcohol and they're not doing the J juice and they drink so much of it, they feel the spins. Well, I felt definitely very dizzy. Jay said I looked kind of clammy and everything. And then, yeah, I think I threw up just one time. I threw up one time and I felt amazing. It was almost like a latent hangover. If I hadn't done the J juice, then what would happen is my body would have gotten used to that microbiome of alcohol, cigarettes, and all that rich food that I had. And so I would have slept it off like people do when they drink, right? When they have this hangover, they just go and sleep it off, and then their body adapts to that environment. And so they still have the poop from that night still inside the body, and the body then adapts to that. But then what happens when that poop accumulates? Because yeah, even though you poop almost every day or every day or however often you poop, you still have that residual microbiome. You haven't done a reset. And so that's why people can then build a tolerance to alcohol if they're major drinkers, is because every single time they drink, that little bit of poop that represents that environment of drinking and smoking still stays within to help the body adapt to that environment. Then when you do the J juice, you actually evolve again. Pain is healing. It was a little bit painful as far as it wasn't like painful, but it was like tiny. It was a throbbing headache for a minute, and then the feeling of the dizziness, and then the tiredness, absolutely. And then the throwing up that one time, and then just having to keep, water falling. I'm thirsty. I was very thirsty. I kept drinking because that was a whole quart. And it was a very intense, because it's white salt with the cabbage and the kale that has been fermenting for like months. Okay, I've had these jars in my fridge for months, so it's a very, very strong recipe and strong batch that I have in my fridge that I have been nursing, because I never really had to take a large amount in a short amount of time because I've been maintaining my homeostasis. But as soon as I went out of my usual comfort zone and I experienced a different environment, a different microbiome, then when you go back to your current microbiome that you are in predominantly, your body has to now evolve and adapt to the current microbiome. And you don't want to have the residual of the alcohol and the cigarettes and all of that, in your current world. Unless you are one of those that work in a bar or work in a very highly energetic atmosphere where, yes, there is a smoking and drinking happens on a continuous basis, then you really have to do the J juice to really help your body adapt and also repair the damage from that continuous type of lifestyle. Eventually, here's the thing. I mean, as soon as I left that property, I said, I'm not smoking any cigarettes. Okay. And I haven't had, when Jason and I woke up on Saturday or Sunday or Monday, I woke up on Monday morning after the Sunday, Jason was smoking cigarettes early in the morning. And it was just like, oh, I can't. I was like, it was really strong to me. And then, and that was, before I actually even drank the J juice. So the cigarettes were really strong to me, which means that I had my fill of cigarettes. Like, I didn't need any more cigarettes, and I didn't crave it. Okay. And so then that's when I did the Facebook lives and I did the J juice. But I don't have any kind of craving for cigarettes. I don't, and so the next time this may happen, maybe in September. I know there's other parts going to happen next month, but I doubt, we'll see if I'll test my body again to see how it acts to alcohol again, and then what the detox process is like. But I just know that eventually, when you play like that, when you bring in that many spirits, that many recipes that will mess with your biochemistry to bring out the euphoria, to bring out all the things that make you feel like you're drunk and having a good time, your body will eventually go back to what it's supposed to be, and then that's when the body has to repair itself. And you have to allow that to happen. The thing with hangovers, and then people do the hair of the dog, or they try to do IV drips, or drink a bunch of coffee, or take their aspirin, is that they further damage their body more. So if you're going to want to, if you're going to have a hangover and feel pain to reacclimate yourself to your current environment when you're not inebriated, you might as well support it correctly with the J juice so you can repair the damage that was done from a night or so of debauchery and detox all the excess cigarette elements as well as all the excess alcohol that may still have been laying in your system. And then you'll be fine. And you won't have any adverse reactions. You won't have any adverse health issues that have to do with drinking and smoking on a continuous basis. You're able to go back to your current life after pay the piper and not have to deal with, health issues down the road. Okay? So this is from my lifestyle where I don't drink and smoke. I don't partake in even weekend type of stuff. I'm around cigarette smoke as far as secondary smoke, but it hasn't bugged me. It hasn't given me any adverse issues. I'm still able to heal with secondary smoke. But yeah, if I want to go and partake once in a while, that can be done. Now, after all of that detox that I did yesterday and repairing and evolving and adapting to my current lifestyle, am I going to want to go, tomorrow or even, this weekend and drink a bunch of alcohol and smoke cigarettes? No, because I don't want to deal with that again of going through that evolutionary process. Okay, so this is why I say to you guys, better now that you deal with all your predispositions, whatever damage you've done to yourself, as well as generations on the J juice in the beginning, and deal with all that crap. And it's going to be a few years of you finally morphing back to what your body originally intended before the abuse happened, whether it's just all the different chemicals from, different elements, from lifestyles, from predispositions that were passed on to you genetically. Okay? And then once you finally get your body really healed and sealed, then you'll be able to measure out life in sensible proportions. And that's where moderation comes in. Right now, nobody can say that everything in moderation when they're working from if we're working from a deficit. When you're working from a deficit, moderation doesn't even make sense, because what does that mean? It's different for everybody. What you think is moderate for you is going to be too over the top for somebody else relative to their predispositions. So when you finally reset your body back to where it's like square one, where you are very, very pristine and pure on the inside, then that's when moderation comes into play, because then, yeah, you have a liver that will filter stuff out. You have mucus. You have all the different purposes of your body to help you adapt to a current atmosphere. And then when you want to really repair the damage of that from that evolution, because also too, we were not social distancing. Obviously, we were in a cesspool of a jacuzzi. Everyone's mixing DNA because we're all in there together. So we're actually taking on each other's data. So even evolving and adapting to the exposure to so much data of so many people together, that also comes into play for some people. Okay, so but the one day of me just recalibrating my body is definitely better than 4 or 5 or 6 years of trying to recalibrate, where some people will fall off. Okay, and that I think is fair. Yeah, if you have 1 week of debauchery, okay, for those that are on the J juice and you've relatively healed and sealed, and you don't bring J juice with you to your vacation because, I don't know, you have a lot of things going on. If you are doing a lot of drinking and smoking and doing all this ayahuasca and stuff, when you come home and you do the J juice, you're going to be revisiting your whole trip, but in a very detoxing, symptomatic way. But that's not a bad thing. It's evolution. It's adapting and letting your body repair the damage, still taking on that data from that whole week of ayahuasca and whatever else, okay, whatever else you're exposed to. So, I mean, I won't know how long it would take for you to go through. It could be for a 1 week type of debauchery, or experimenting in different microbiomes, and you come back to your own. It could be 1 day, it could be 2 days. I don't know. Everyone will figure out if you get your body to where you reverse all your issues and then you go off to different microbiomes. Though it'd be harder nowadays because of the COVID, and people are cracking down. I mean, our cities are cracking down. Governors are cracking down on the people. And so eventually there's going to be a vaccine. And I'm going to say, hey, when they start making these vaccines mandatory, to where it's contingent upon you entering into a building for whatever reason, you could still do the vaccines. It's not going to hurt you. Do the J juice. You'll have to upgrade to the new environment and you'll be fine. As soon as you get pricked, you'll have a thing that says that you took the vaccine. They're not going to measure your antibodies. So you do the J juice, you'll get rid of the excess antibodies that could potentially cause more predispositions, and you're home free. So that's what's so amazing about the J juice, is that you'll be able to adapt to whatever environment that is either forced upon you, not because they're trying to kill you, it's because there is, a lot of, well, they say it's an intentional thing with this COVID, but regardless, nothing can kill you unless somebody shoots you or you go into a gas chamber, like forced into a gas chamber with no windows and only the gas being piped in. So there is nothing that can kill you that isn't forced, that isn't forced upon you, like to where you have no access to air or water. Okay, which means that you can adapt to any conditions that the government puts out there, and you won't have any adverse reactions that you think is bad, because you know that pain is healing. You know that pain is evolution, and you just got to work through it. Okay, so there is my experience on detoxing from a weekend of drinking and smoking after 4 years of not drinking and smoking. And I survived it. I actually maintained and drank most people under the table, so to speak. And I'm not saying I'm not should be an advocate for alcohol type of stuff, but you live in a world of 7 billion people. A lot of your friends are not going to do the J juice. They're going to be living their alcoholic lifestyle, and you still have your friends, and you don't want to give them up because they are your friends. And so how can you still survive the different circles of people and still do J juice at the same time? And it can happen, but you have to give yourself enough time to repair all the damage from years and years of abuse, and then you can start experimenting with different microbiomes. But no matter what, you will still be able to bounce back. But the healing process, the detox healing process after a night of drinking and you haven't fully healed, will definitely be more intense, because you still have predispositions that you haven't fully rectified with or dealt with or addressed. Okay? Have a good day. Bye.